This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately. All right, everybody. I'm not going to do the rest of the music part there, but today we've got on a special guest named Gregg Hardy. He's the brother of Dee Ann Warner, who's been missing, but it's not looking good on that front. So he is on with us now. He's not on Zoom, but I'm going to switch over to a screen where you can actually see what he looks like, and it's a picture of Dee with Justice for Dee below it, and then missing Dee Ann Warner on the top of the screen. Okay, so Gregg, maybe you could tell us who you are and how what's going on here. This is crazy.
Well, good evening. I'm Dee Ann Warner's brother. There's quite an age difference in us. I'm 19 years younger than she is, or I'm 19 years older than she is.
Yeah.
She would love it if she heard that.
Yeah.
And as you know, she's been missing since April 25th, and we've gone to extensive amounts of work to try to bring her situation to justice.
Yeah, it's been absolutely, when I remember I was talking to you a few days ago and I told you I didn't really know much about it, but I was going to go through all the articles on the show, and then we were going through them, and, covering so many cases like we do over here, it seemed like right off the bat you already kind of have a sort of an idea of what's going to be going on. And then when you finally, near the end of the show, is when your, I don't know if it was a speech or something like a talk that you gave where you explained what's been going on, and that's when it really was just like, oh God, here we go. It's nuts. So maybe you can explain to us, maybe tell us a little bit about tell us about Dee first of all, and then maybe kind of lead into what was going on prior to the 25th, maybe the 24th, and even way prior to that, if you know.
Okay, well, as I've mentioned many times, Dee has a vibrant personality. She was made friends easily. She enjoyed having friends, and she was the kind of person that was just very lively. She was, as I've often mentioned, the life of the party, so to speak, and prided herself in trying to be friends and help people in all different kinds of ways. She was heavily involved with agricultural 4-H program, and she had put a lot of effort and a lot of time into that, with helping kids with 4-H projects here in the local area. The situation that took place, of course, was quite unexpected. When I got the call that they couldn't find my sister on the 25th of April, I was very surprised. And of course, there was no question, historically, there had been a troublesome marriage. And there had been times when she had been in a dispute with her husband and taken her children, and on at least 2 occasions actually came to my own home. And then she took solace also previous to this date with her one son, Zach, at a property that they had sort of jointly owned on a local lake here in this area. And so for there to be a dispute was not a surprise, but for her to vanish with no car, without her daughter Angelina, without telling anyone, was just by far out of character for her.
Yeah.
And because she was so gregarious, I've often said to people, there's no way that she could stay, even if she wanted to, she couldn't stay quiet very long. That just was not her personality.
Yeah, and then the other times when she did take off to get away would be close by with the family. It's not like she would just take off and never to be heard from again.
No, I mean, we live within a little over a mile from her, from her home, as our home. And her son, Zach, had this other place that they had together at this lake was about 7 or 8 miles from her home. So no, it was never like she would go somewhere out of state or out of the country or anything close to that.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense. So what did you? So what do you know about what happened on that, like on the 24th, from the early part of the day all the way up until the evening?
Well, she had, I believe, she started the day visiting my niece, her one daughter, and I think her child, my niece's son, and Dee's daughter Angelina went to a soccer game, as I recall. And then there was Dee was involved in some business activities, and then she had spent some time at her one daughter's home, telling her how upset she was about the situation that she was dealing with regarding not only Dale but 2 other employees of the business. And then later on that day, 4 or 5 o'clock, she actually returned home with Angelina, and her other daughter had come over to her home, and I'm not sure the purpose of our visit at the time, but they then discussed the fact that Dee was extremely upset over these confrontations with her husband and 2 employees.
All right. Well, I think we were given the name, like it was Todd and somebody else, but there was
there are 2 brothers. The one brother, Todd and Eric, had worked very closely with Dee in the trucking business for a number of years, and I guess there had been some discontent that had grown in the last year or so, and he'd become somewhat agitated about that, and Dee felt that he was with the dispute, and also his brother, and that her husband Dale did just not support her in these discussions and disagreements over this employment issue. So she was at home. Angelina was with her. At that time, 4 or 5 o'clock, she was somewhat calmer than she'd been earlier in the day. As her one daughter explained, she seemed a bit calmed down, and so that daughter went home, or Kel, and went home to her own home, and then apparently this thing flared up some more, and the reason I know that is because I have copies of text messages that were transpiring between her and one of her friends, whose name was Amy. And during those text conversations, Dee explained how distraught she was, that she had a serious headache, had been vomiting, was very distraught, and Amy offered to pick up Angelina to relieve some stress from Dee. And Dee concurred with that. And that took place about 7:40.
Who was vomiting?
In the
Oh, sorry, I missed that.
I'm sorry.
Who was the one that was vomiting? I missed that part.
Dee.
Oh, so
Dee.
she was just really upset about it, and then she wanted her youngest daughter to go with Amy, right?
Well, Amy offered. It was actually in some of the accounts it's been misconstrued that Dee had called asking Amy, but it was actually the other way around in the text messages that I have copies of. So I know exactly what happened there, in the fact that Amy sensed and had a series of back and forth by text discussing the fact that she was upset, what were the problems, and what was going to be the result of that. And Dee was willing to have Angelina go with Amy, who has a daughter about her age, so they were going to have a sleepover, basically. And that took the pressure off of Dee in this discussion, so to speak, with her husband that was supposed to take place sometime around 8 p.m.
And but was the I mean, on some of the other calls that we've had, it sounded like she was planning on, because of the buildup of everything, like she was just planning on leaving and getting a divorce, something like that. Is that something that can be?
Well,
I mean, it was talked about.
I think that had been discussed before. There was no question. She mentioned in her own text that there was just nothing left in the marriage, and that she was just completely, I don't know how to use the term, but fed up with everything, and wanted to actually dispose of the businesses and just get away from her situation there at home.
I see. So so Dee gives her youngest child to Amy. She comes over and picks her up. And then what happens after that?
Well, I'm not sure we know exactly what happened after that, but there were text messages up till about 11 p.m. But then around midnight, to the best of my knowledge, everything on her phone shut down. Now, keep in mind that the forensic information regarding her phone and her watch are things that have been gotten by the authorities from the phone company, and they've not shared that with us at all. In fact, that's been extremely frustrating, because we would have liked to known exactly where her phone is, or where her Apple Watch was making contact.
Mm-hmm.
And I have made many attempts at accomplishing that, and they're trying to get that information, but it has been withheld from us. And as you probably know, without a warrant, you can't get it from the phone company, and so that has been a very big issue for us.
Well, that's a lot of times law enforcement will share that type of stuff with the family. I don't know. You seem like you're in a situation with the sheriff, and it just isn't working out too well. I mean, he's still talking about, hey, if you see her somewhere, give us a call. It's I think we're at a different place, just based on all the information that I've heard, than something like that. So like it was at 11 o'clock at night. Now I noticed that there are cell towers really close. There's one south, one north, and then there's one inside of a 3-mile radius down Highway 50 there. So they should be able to almost triangulate where her phone was that night and where it stopped pinging. And
well,
yeah, go ahead.
there's a number of things. I mean, that's certainly true. The one tower is, I would imagine, less than a quarter of a mile from their home. And as you mentioned, and I watched on your podcast the other night where you were looking at the potential towers for triangulation. Mm-hmm. There's actually more also in the fact that the communication, meaningful communication, and the sharing of any kind of information between even a single member of the family and the authorities has been literally non-existent. The family has delivered a number of things related to the case, including things that were evidentiary, to the authorities, but the authorities have not given anything back to the family. And as you probably know, I've been a bit critical of that, and I found it very difficult to understand, particularly this late in the game. But that information early, you're absolutely correct, is vital. All we have is information from other people's phones, and we have information from her phone bill, and that's the extent of what we have for ourselves, for the family.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder why they were digging. I know they used the ground penetrating radar, but it looks like they were digging at one point sort of in the back, all the way back near the, I don't know if those are gas tanks or something, but the farthest north you can go on the actual lot there. You wonder if they were triangulating her phone, because when you can do that, you can actually pinpoint within feet. You know, you're right on a location. So I'm wondering if they were looking at that at night. And I don't know. I'm just kind of trying to speculate on stuff like that. Just figure out. I mean, they were using ground penetrating radar. They find anomalies, and they come back and they dig in those areas. But maybe there's more to it with the pinging information.
Well, that could very well be true, and you would like to think they have information like that would be helpful. The effectiveness of their search, in my opinion, has been lackluster. I have personally gone out and solicited ground penetrating radar from private sources, and as late as today. And what I understand, and now I have learned about the system, is that it is affected strongly by types of soil, compaction of soil, and other issues that can make it effective, or vice versa, less effective. Mm-hmm. Knowing all that information, there's no question in my mind that the search that was done even on October 11th, in my opinion, is not anywhere thorough enough. And there has to be more work done in that regard.
Yeah, I mean, it's been almost disturbing. It seems like I guess maybe the small town mentality where you've got everybody knows everybody, and maybe people know Dale, and they're just kind of like, yeah. I mean, it seems like they're just not really that interested.
Well, he doesn't have a glamorous reputation, so I would like to think that unless there was some other method of influencing the authorities, that they would be very seriously approaching this situation. It wouldn't be the first time that he's been investigated. So I would hope that there wasn't any favoritism here or anything like that you may be referring to. That would be over and beyond anything that I could imagine. But you are right. It doesn't seem like there's enough intensity.
Yeah, I mean, you think if it was one of their family members, it might be a little different. So what do you think about the... I was going to discuss... We've got the cameras on the house, and last night we were talking with, I think it was Dustin and Raquel, and they were talking about how the cameras that are on the office building, they one film sort of back north, and then the one on the right hand side goes to the right. But where the car was parked, the let's see, what was it? The Hummer, a car that she doesn't normally use. I guess it's an Escalade that she normally uses.
That's correct.
Like the Hummer was parked in the front there, but then it was moved later after the breakfast, and then when Raquel went over there to have breakfast with Dustin, they noticed the car there, and then when they came back later, it was moved. Do you have any theories on that one? Because she didn't move it, right? So.
No. Well, the point was that the Hummer had been sitting by the house for over 30 days that I'm aware of, and by the way, I can say that with some authority because I drive by there several times. And as you've mentioned, her Escalade was her main car that she drove most of the time, and in that period of time that the Hummer had been sitting by the home, she'd exclusively driven the Escalade, which by the way, after a lot of complaining, I finally got the authorities to download the information off of the Escalade with a special software program. But it took them 3 months, 4 months, somewhere of that nature, to be willing to concede to download the information off of her Escalade.
And it's sad that you have to.
And the reason that was,
yeah,
I'm sorry.
Well, it's sad that you have to word it like that. Like they're like, okay, we'll download it. It's like almost like they should be really interested to download it. But they can.
Well, it wasn't until I threatened to buy the software and download it myself did they finally do it. So it wasn't. Yeah. It was even a little more than just persuasion. It was basically threatening, quite frankly. Mm-hmm. But the reason that was important is, remember, at the beginning of this case, the husband was claiming that she had just, evidently someone had picked her up, were his words, okay? And so, with her husband at the early part of this investigation, I discussed that theory with him in depth. And one of the things that was important about the locations of where her Escalade had been is if in fact his story were to have any legs to it at all, then it would be obvious that she just didn't look somebody up in the Yellow Pages at 6:30 on Sunday morning and have them come and pick her up. It would been something she would have, quote unquote, planned. Mm-hmm. Therefore, if she planned it, she would have met this person sometime, and she didn't go anywhere without driving. So the theory was that if I got the information off the Escalade, I could either prove or disprove his theory. And of course, you would have thought that because it was his theory that he would have been willing to help accomplish that, right? Because that would make his story correct or believable. But in no time did he have any interest or put any energy into participating with me in finding where her car might have gone. Because as I told him, I said, Dale, listen, if she were planning this like you're saying, she would have met someone somewhere, and perhaps if we tracked the car, we could then find someone on a security camera, whatever, okay?
Right.
The truth of the matter of that was all just a story. There was no legs to it whatsoever. I investigated it to the nth degree. I would like to think that the authorities would have, and as such, why wouldn't they have wanted that information off the car like I did, right?
Yeah, why wouldn't they?
Good question.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing is, so she didn't, if you could get the phone record too, you could also see that she didn't contact somebody to come pick her up. I guarantee you that doesn't exist. But I heard that he claimed that she had a burner phone to solve that problem. Yeah.
Well, that might be solving the problem, but her car wasn't a burner car. So and as I mentioned before, she went everywhere in this car. My sister didn't walk anywhere. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now, And I often teased her about that, quite frankly. Now let's go back to the Hummer, because you brought it up and it is critical. The Hummer sat by the house at a certain location for, I'm going to safely say, well over 30 days. Supposedly, at 2:30 in the morning, on that fateful morning, it was supposedly still sitting there. But then sometime between that time and the time Raquel got there on Sunday morning, between 2:30 and 9 o'clock, it was moved to the office.
Yeah, because she needed to drive it to the office to put her ring on the counter, right? It's only like 40 feet. I know you said she drives everywhere, right? But, maybe she wouldn't drive if she had to walk over to the office, right?
Well, if she were going to drive that morning, I'm pretty sure she would have driven the Escalade, because it was in the garage. It would have been a lot more convenient. So, but what's even more important about that story, and about the lack of integrity to that story, is the fact that you'd have to say, well, not only did she drive the Hummer down there for whatever reason nobody knows, and then she would have to hide from the cameras to go in to leave this ring, valuable ring, by the way, on her husband's desk. Now, there's two things that are wrong with that story. One is, if you're doing that and you're leaving, why would you care if the camera saw you? Number two, I can promise you, my sister wouldn't leave him 3 cents. Impossible. No way in the world would she do it.
And it's a
in
pretty
fact, I often said,
go ahead.
If she were leaving him, she not only would take the ring, she'd burn the damn house down on the way out if she were leaving.
Yeah. Wow.
That describes my sister's personality.
And the ring was worth it quite a bit, apparently, right?
Yes, I would say. I don't. It was certainly 5 figures plus. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what do you think? And then Dustin was telling us about a story that he was told, and that Dale told him about how they were really upset, and then he put his hands around her and massaged her neck, and then she was on the ground, and it sounded like he was kind of describing what he actually did, but in a non-nefarious way. And then it almost feels, I hope you don't mind if I just talk about this like it's like a crime case, but like maybe he strangled her, put her in the Hummer, drove to the left, back down to the street to get to Munger Street, and then took a right when he got to Munger Street to avoid the camera. And then he came back and he had this plan. Hey, yeah, the ring. And then he pulls the Hummer in there just to make it, in his mind he was thinking, yeah, I'll put the Hummer here, and that's where the ring would go. And then later on he thought, that was stupid. That doesn't make any sense. So then he moved it back to where it normally would be. Something like that. Because it doesn't sound like it was like do you think it was planned out, this whole thing?
How do you anticipate what someone who's capable of doing something that heinous, how would you ever be able to interpret what their brain, because there's obviously something wrong with it, right?
Yeah, right.
And so for me, I can't tell you that, using the terms premeditated or not, I don't know, but I do know that the story doesn't hold water. And I do know that it was if you listen to it the night I listened to it, it was definitely a rehearsed story. And I'll be honest, I was naive enough, or at least wanted to believe enough, that I went for it to start with. And it wasn't for several days later, after doing everything I could possibly do to contact everyone that I could find related to Dee, any way, shape, or form, to investigate how she could have been, all of a sudden just disappeared at 6:30 in the morning on Sunday morning, because according to her husband, she was laying on the couch snoring at 6:30, right? Well, then she had to jump up, get a ride, and be all that collected and gone by the time Raquel got there in the 9-ish range.
Yeah. No.
Now, that's a pretty swift move right there. Yeah.
Can you try to when you talk to Dale right at the beginning, is there a way that you can tell the story, like try to be really like precise in what he was telling you early on, where you almost wanted to believe it, that story?
Well, sure. I don't mind sharing that at all. I mean, to me, it's so important to this case. So remember that my son and my wife had been participating with Raquel and Dustin and others, Zach, searching all over for my sister, calling people, looking at obvious things, different property areas. And quite frankly, between myself and my wife and my son, we knew my sister was upset. There was evidence in the house that she was extremely upset. And so naturally you have some sort of fear that someone who became that beside themselves would consider taking their own life. And so the first part of this search party, so to speak, early on, was in the back of everyone's mind, fearfully so. So then finally, by the end of the day, I decided that I needed to go speak with Dale. I mean, he didn't call me. Everybody else called me. He didn't call me. So I went to where he was driving a tractor in the field. I mean, here's a guy that was so concerned about his wife. He was out fitting down a field with a tractor instead of looking for his wife. Okay? I mean, jeez. So I pulled in. My wife was with me. He stopped the tractor. He got out. He came up to my truck. And I said exactly this. I said, Dale, what in the hell is going on here? He said, well, she must have took off. I said, she took off. He said, yeah, she took her purse and she took her makeup and she took a little travel bag she kept, quote unquote, packed at all times at the end of the bed, and their curling iron. And then he reaches in his blue jean pocket with his left hand, pulls out her wedding ring, and is bouncing it up and down in his hand like a golf ball. And she left this on my desk.
Jeez. Had it all ready for you.
Zero emotion. So I said, well, who in the hell, I mean, how did she leave? He said, well, somebody must have picked her up. I said, well, who would pick her up? Okay, I mean, if someone's picking my wife up, I'm probably going to have at least some idea who would be picking my wife up, okay? I don't know. That was the answer I got. She'll be back.
Let me ask you this, though. Don't you think it's a bit odd? I mean, I can tell you this: if my wife packed a bag, I'm not going to know about a curling iron. That's almost something that he knew that he put together. Those items that were in that bag to make it look like she's leaving. What do you think of that?
I agree. I couldn't concur more. I wouldn't have any idea what my wife's curling iron looks like, okay, or where the hell it's at.
Yeah.
And the last thing that I would be concerned about is doing an inventory of what I thought she walked out with, okay? First of all, you'd have to assume that she walked out at that point if she was going to take this stuff. And that didn't make any sense to me at all. After I once thought it through and my common sense kicked in, it became nothing, in my opinion, but a rehearsed story.
And then when you so there must have been a time where you went back to him to discuss it again. Can you describe some of those moments?
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, I was trying to be helpful to find my sister, and of course he was denying that he had anything to do with this, and quite frankly, I told him early on, I said, Dale, I mean, you might as well face the fact that you're going to be the number one suspect here. If she's not showing up somewhere, I mean, the spouse is always the number one suspect. And we talked every day for the first few weeks, in which case it was troublesome to me, because when he would talk about it, it wasn't about trying to find her. It was more about poor me. She did this and she did that, and all of them were negative things about Dee. She left me in a hell of a situation here. She had done this, she'd done that, and also through those same kind of negative comments towards her son Zach. And after a while, that gets to be a very difficult thing to accept, when it would seem like the spouse would be talking about, should we look here, should we look there, should we do this, should we do that? Never. That was never the situation with this guy.
Yeah, that's, man, it must have been, how early on do you think that you were thinking, man, this just doesn't make any sense? Like within the first week, or?
For me, thinking it?
Yeah. Like that.
By Friday of that week.
Oh, really? Okay. So about 4 or 5 days in. 5 days, yeah.
And that's when I began asking him to take a polygraph test, which he refused every time.
Yeah, it's strange because it's so similar to so many other cases out there. Because I cover hundreds a year, and there's some that have a lot of similarities to it. It's mind-boggling that it's been 8 months, and they're just sort of you have all this information. Do you remember how he? When you think back retrospectively, can you picture how he looked, and does it seem more like you want to be able to pick up on that he was lying even back then, just the way he looked, or did he seem really believable when he would tell his stories?
I guess when I first heard the story, I wanted to believe something, okay? But as time went on, my first work that I really dove into immediately on Sunday night and into Monday morning was finding someone who may have given her a ride, because I'm telling you, she didn't walk anywhere. She didn't take a car. So someone had to pick her up, either that or there was a space alien in Tipton, Michigan. So
yeah.
I contacted all kinds of people, and in fact a couple people I literally questioned like I'd like to see a detective do, okay? And then it started piecing together, and I will tell you quickly the thing that made me understand that it was just a story. And if you just role play with me for a second, Hugh, I want to tell you how I approach this. If you and I are good friends, and I call you up and I said, listen, I'm in a lot of trouble, and I need a ride to the airport or the bus station or the train station or wherever the hell I wanted to go. And you said, well, Greg, yeah, we're friends. I'll give you a ride. So you come to my house at 6:30 in the morning on a Sunday morning, and I get in the car and I said, I really need your confidence here. I'd prefer that you didn't tell anybody where I went. And you say, yeah, Greg, we're friends. I'll kind of honor that. And you would for a few days. But then when you find out, and you couldn't help but find it out, it became very public, that there is a problem going on here, and I'm being looked for by authorities and my family, you would probably say, I can't hold my word on this anymore, and you'd have to tell someone, right? Otherwise, be an accessory to my disappearance. So when you think that through in that manner, it becomes obvious that nobody picked her up, so to speak.
Yeah, you could do the argument like it was somebody that they were starting their whole new life together, and they wouldn't come forward because they're out there. Oh yeah, let's see, in Mexico or the Caribbean, right? Is that what it was? Yeah. But here's the thing: is if there's no evidence at all, there's no evidence at all that she communicated with another soul to have actually came and picked her up. You know what I'm saying? So he's claiming it's a burner phone to solve that problem, but is there even any evidence that you know of that she's ever had a burner phone? Yeah.
I don't have any evidence of that. These were generally stories that her husband brought forward,
right?
Not anybody. And remember, this is a guy who was putting a tracking device on her Hummer to find out where she went, but yet then he doesn't know where she's gone when she's left. I'm thinking, it's just crazy that somebody would think something like that. Then, of course, it was always his story about the burner phone.
So was the tracking device something they both agreed to put on there, or is this something that you found?
Oh, of course not. No. No. He planted it on her Hummer. Whether it's paranoia or whatever it's the mental problem here, I don't know. But
how'd you find out about that?
But it was. Oh, he told me.
Wow.
And that was one of the reasons that she vanished the way she did, because she didn't want to be tracked.
Oh God, what an idiot! Wait a minute. So he actually literally admitted that he's like a stalker, controlling husband type, and put a tracking device in her vehicle, so she knew that I was tracking her. Therefore, she found a way out without being noticed. That's ridiculous. Yeah. Oh wow.
Now, going back to what you said a moment ago, which is part and parcel to this, in my opinion, you have, as I mentioned earlier, I was very interested in finding out where she had been with her Escalade, because remember, if you're going to, using your terminology, leave with someone and start a completely new life and not be seen by anybody you've ever been related to before, then I'm pretty sure that relationship wouldn't have started in an hour and a half on Sunday morning at 6:30 or 7 o'clock. It would have started
a long time ago.
A long before that.
Yeah, and there would have
been absolutely no evidence whatsoever that took place.
Yeah, and she's not used any of her money, credit cards, or anything like that at all. And I guess he could have made a better story out of it. He said if he named more items that were missing. Oh man, she took all of her curling irons and all these different things because she was planning for a long time. But I don't know. It's just it's ludicrous.
But the very important thing about my sister, and even if she had thought about doing something like that, which I don't believe she did, but even if she thought about it, she was so closely connected to her family and her heritage here. There is no possibility that she could keep. I've said this respectfully and with a little bit of joking. She couldn't keep her mouth shut this long, no matter what you did to her. It's impossible. She was a gregarious person, and would she have a temper tantrum with you today? I mean, there's plenty of times she was madder than the heck at me one day and hugging me the next day. That's just her personality. It was the same way with everyone. She could get really pissed off, but in a very short order, she'd be hugging you again. So when you have that kind of personality that doesn't meet the conditions of vanishing, it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I could tell. Just everybody that I've talked to and the friends and family members, there's just no way. Plus, she has the 9-year-old daughter. She needs her mom. It's not like so. I mean, you have that, and she was always communicating with family members and friends on a daily basis, engaged in their lives and everything. And you don't just up and take off without ever contacting one of them again. Like you're there, if you really did do it, and you're like, hey, you might call a relative and say, don't tell anybody, but I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. And it does make the case makes sense to me, but it doesn't make sense to me what's being told to you. I mean, to me, it makes sense. I think there's probably a heated argument in the house, and she put her foot down and probably said, "I'm out of here," and you're going to have nothing. You know, who knows what the conversation was like. And then he probably, for lack of a better term, snapped, and something happened, right? I mean, doesn't that sound logical? I mean, it's probably hard to think about, but that's just...
Yeah, it is hard to think about. Remember, I've known all of them for a long time. And it's almost surreal to think that what's happened has happened, and it's painful. I'm sure that Dale Warner and his family are not very fond of me right now, but the truth is the truth, and that's all that I can deal with are the facts and the truth. And so for me to reconstruct what happened is extremely painful to think about.
Right.
But I do know one thing. If you break this down to the simplest terms, there were only two people in that house that night. There was obviously duress. There's no question about that. And there was obviously serious duress. And it wouldn't be beyond my sister to get in somebody's face, okay? And you're right. Then sometimes desperate people do desperate things, right? And so then we end up with a situation that's as untenable as this is, and it's just mind-boggling.
I think the ring is sort of proof, in a way, of some, it's like that was something he knew was really valuable. So of course she's going to be giving it back, right? I mean, and he didn't want to. He wasn't going to put it somewhere where he wasn't going to be able to get it again, right? Let's put it that way.
Well, there's two things she would never give him. Never. And I hardly ever use the term never, but I'm using never. One would be anything financially, and without any question, never her daughter. And what she's done is left all of that behind, and that is an easy answer to a lot of questions in my mind.
Yep, there you go. Let's see. Do you have what else? Do you know? Is there any other information? I know we've kind of gone through the day and various elements that are wild. Is there any other things that you are aware of that you can tell us that that's?
There's lots of things I'm aware of, but as you would expect, as much as I am disappointed, and I use that term strongly, disappointed in the authorities, there's some things that I would certainly not divulge because I don't want to impact their investigation. But it is frustrating as all get out to know some of the things I know and still not see anything come of that. And all I can say is that spells out the Justice for Dee thing.
Sorry, my dog just hit a vehicle.
By the way, for all those people that may listen to this podcast that have participated in the publishing the Justice for Dee and the online information and answering calls and running down tips and working endlessly on her behalf, I'd like to thank them very much.
That's our pleasure. And here's the thing: is you are exactly how everybody would wish their brother would be like if something happened to them. I can just tell you that right now. And maybe you should have been in a different line of work since the get-go. You ever thought of that?
Well, you have to rise to the occasion, right? And because I was a college student when my sister was born, we have a different relationship than many brothers and sisters have, and so it's been different, but our family has a lot of heritage, and we're people who don't give up, we don't stop, we bring things to fruition no matter what it takes, and I am absolutely 1,000% dedicated to getting this to the end.
Yeah, I was talking to an individual there. You guys have been in the area for like hundreds of years, something like that? Is that
our family?
Yeah.
Yeah, our family. My son will be the 5th generation actively here in this community. Yes.
Yeah, Catherine was saying that like their families have been friends for like 200 years or something. I was trying to picture. Yeah. Wow, 18 something. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really fortunate too to live in communities like that. Although maybe law enforcement lacks a little bit sometimes, but it's everybody gets to know everybody, and all the families are friends, and I don't know. It just seems like a really nice environment. Although that's probably right now isn't really the greatest moment to portray that, but
well, that's an interesting. It's an interesting dichotomy, because to think that this could happen in this little town, the way it happened with the people it happened with, in my opinion, is almost impossible to pull together. And some days I actually wake up in the morning thinking this couldn't possibly be true. But it is true, and I've spent 8 months, every single day, 8 months, trying to come up with information that will be beneficial to successfully bring this to a conclusion for the family's sake. I mean, there's only one thing worse than losing someone tragically, and that's not knowing what happened.
I totally agree. I think missing person cases are almost the hardest. Missing persons with are probably the hardest on everybody, because there's no answers. I mean, you've had 8 months where every day you wake up in the morning and you probably have this feeling of like sort of this dread feeling, and it's just every day, but you're trying to get answers. And then even if, let's say, she's found, I mean, there's that answer, but then there's other, then you have to go for justice, and it's a long haul, and it's really admirable that the work that you're putting in. I mean, it's just incredible. There isn't anybody that's come on, or family members that haven't said that you're just awesome at what you're doing.
Well, I appreciate that. I have, because of this experience, I've been in contact with a number of people who are family members of missing people. And some of those have been a huge help to me in making me come up with ideas and to work with the family to try to find answers. And so I have contact with these people, and every morning I wake up, and honestly, you said, you wake up with funny feelings, but actually I wake up with new convictions every morning to resolve something new in this case. And there's some people who've had this going on for years, as I'm sure you know, Gray, and my heart goes out to them so much I just can't even explain it.
See, what's in your case, you have the wherewithal and the ability to investigate, but there's some people that don't have that, so all they really have is waking up, and they just want to know where their loved one is. It's just an absolute nightmare. I think it's even better. There's if somebody passes away and you find them 6 days later, even if they're murdered, you have that horrible shock, but then you can grieve and move on. When somebody's missing, you're at this sort of this mid-range peak until there's answers. I mean, it's just really brutal, really.
Yeah, it's tougher on other family members probably than me. I take all my energy and focus it on solving.
Yeah.
And so that helps. And as you haven't talked about, but something I can talk about that doesn't really affect the investigation of the case, I petitioned the court, the probate court, to appoint a conservator to represent my sister's position in business and protect her assets and her relationships with her family. And that's taken up a fair amount of time, and quite frankly, we're working on that a lot today, and there's a lot more to come from that, because that allows the conservator to really be in place of my sister and function in business as my sister does, and quite frankly, keep what I believe are some less than positive things happening within the business where her husband is. And that has been and will continue to be very impactful on this situation.
What was the business situation? Was she the sole, owner?
She was. They have basically 5 entities. One is which is called DDW, which was a trucking company, and my sister was the sole owner of that, and as an LLC. And then she was 50% owner in the other LLCs that she owned jointly with her husband. And now the conservator has to take her place in those businesses. Such things as tax returns, dealing with day-to-day business issues where it requires signatures, financing, which requires her approval. Well, now that has to be a conservator.
How do you find a conservator that knows what to do in this type of a business, I guess?
Very difficult. Very difficult. The one that's appointed is an experienced accountant, and of course he has every opportunity to gather extra resources if there's something he's not familiar with. So, and he has done that, and he has an attorney representing him as a conservator, and he is investigating many things to do with the business side.
Yeah, and as far as a will goes, it doesn't really take effect until, I don't know, there's years, or a court could deem somebody not alive. So I don't know if a will is he part of that situation? I mean, not that it's any of my business, but I'm just curious.
Yeah. There is, the conservator is really stands in place of that person. Now, could he make amend a will or something like that? That's a legal question. I don't know, but I would suspect not. But his main role is protecting that person's assets who cannot speak for themselves or function for themselves. And it is quite unusual under a missing person situation to do it. It's more likely to have occurred if someone had been tragically injured in a coma or something like that. But in this particular case, I chose to request it from the court, and the court concurred and allowed for the appointment. Although, by the way, her husband did object.
That's a shock. Let me see.
Yeah.
So you thought that was pretty genius of you to get a conservator that quick. How long has it been in place?
About 3 months.
Yeah.
It took me a while to get it there because, quite frankly, a lot of people were not sure if that had been done before. I don't know if it has or it hasn't, but it made sense to me in viewing the statute and the purpose in probate court, and the probate court judge fortunately agreed.
Oh, wow. Let's see. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure you have a lot more. Maybe in the future you can share more information if things are dragging on. Again, we can get it out there at least. But you're always welcome to come on. But it'd be nice to have you come on one time with the maps and everything, and have you kind of explain, a little bit of what you know, if that can help at all. But that was. Do you have anything else that you want to add?
Well, no, I just honestly, from the bottom of my heart, I'd like to thank you and everyone else. I mean, there's so many people that have been supportive of this search for justice for Dee. It's unbelievable, and they've all played. You've given me accolades, but really the accolades belong to all these people who have graciously given of their time, some of them who are not family members by any stretch of the imagination, but just have found a deep need, and it's touched their heart enough that they've wanted to help. And that's just absolutely tremendous.
You know, here's the thing that's odd is I only heard about this case like, I don't know, 4 or 5 days ago. And this is a case that should have been heard and been known around the country in a large way. I mean, it just seems ridiculous that this isn't one of the ones. I don't know what the rhyme or reason for why a case makes it into the larger mass media, but this is definitely one that should be in there. And so hopefully, sometimes social media actually drives what the larger media does. And what the good thing would be from all this would be to put some pressure on the people that should be investigating this, and get their asses going and get something done. I mean, it's been 8 months. Yeah.
Well, as a result of the campaign of these people that I'm mentioning here, and it would take me a long time if I started naming names, so I want to keep them together as just a wonderful group of people. But they are causing that to happen. You mentioned, I believe, on one of your other podcasts about the petition that's out there. Quite frankly, I approached the prosecuting attorney on a one-on-one basis and requested that he ask the sheriff or demand the sheriff turn this case over to a higher level. I spoke to the sheriff himself personally and asked him, my theory was the following, because every time I talked to a detective or I talked to someone involved in the case, they were always telling me how they had so much paperwork to do and their time was so consumed and they didn't have time for this and they didn't have time for that. So I suggest, listen, why don't respectfully pass this on to a larger organization as Michigan State Police, an FBI, who can put more resources and quality people on this case, and to investigate it to the nth degree, to the point where it needs to go. But again, even the prosecutor said, well, that's not possible. Well, I know it's possible, and the pressure coming from the campaign being put out by all the friends and family of Dee is having an impact on that, and I hope these people understand the footsteps that these people are making as they're heading towards their office, saying, hey, you got to do something more than you're doing. That's what I hope.
Wow, it's amazing. So I shared it in the community section. It looked like a lot of people jumped in there and signed it. You have to get up to 5,000. Does it make a difference? Like, if you get to 5,000, do they automatically do it, or is that just the number? You'd think they would, right?
I don't know that there's a precedent for it, Gray.
Yeah.
What it is it's public sentiment. Mm-hmm. And remember, these, the sheriff in any community is an elected official. And, it isn't that I personally have any vendetta against the sheriff. I definitely do not. I just don't happen to be impressed with the lack of communication, the lack of accountability, the lack of thoroughness that have taken place here. That's being, I think, respectfully critical of the situation, because those are all facts. We have done nothing but give to the authorities as far as information, and we get nothing back. We ask for accountability, we get nothing. We ask for information, we get nothing. So after a while, that kind of wears thin. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And there was somebody just asked one question here. Do you know if was Dale, was he seeing anybody on his side? Like maybe dating some lady?
I have no idea.
Yeah. To me, that doesn't seem like that would be what was the motive in this case. What you've laid out and everybody else, it seems more like maybe the spigot of cash was about to be turned off and anger ensued, something like that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I can tell you, I don't know that there was ever any other person involved in either case, but I do know that his biggest treasure was not his wife, was not his children, but it was his farming business. And with the threat of losing that, I'm sure that was somewhat impactful. Yeah.
Hey, Dustin just typed in, dating Dale would be like dating a brick wall. Okay. Yeah.
Well,
he just typed it in the chat there.
Yeah, he was never Mr. Personality, I can tell you that much. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, listen, I really appreciate you coming on, and we'll have you back on again. And, whenever you feel like you want to come on and talk, you can come on too. How about that?
Well, I appreciate that offer tremendously. And again, thank you so much for all of your efforts and everybody else that's involved.
All right. Well, I hope we get some answers, and I'm sorry that you and all of your family are having to go through this, but getting some answers and having police work with you at a much closer level would be a great thing for this family and all of the friends that she has too. So, all right.
Couldn't agree more.
All right. Well, thank you again for calling, and we'll keep in touch. All right. Have a good one.
Thanks again. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Yeah. Well, that was Gregg Hardy. Really cool guy. Really nice individual. Just talking to him on the phone, he's really nice too. So, that's him. So, wow, man, that is absolutely insane. It's just absolutely, don't you just think that there is, I mean, to me, there's no doubt that, no doubt allegedly that Dale had something to do with it. Okay? There's no chance in hell that she would have taken off with all the loving family and friends. And there's no way that she wouldn't contact a soul in 8 months. It's not going to happen. Because if her taking off would have actually just given everything. She wouldn't given him the ring. She wouldn't give him all the whole property, everything. She wanted to get away from the situation. So I guess maybe she was talking about selling the business and just, getting rid of that and maybe getting a divorce. I'm sure that was part of it. And so when you hear, I would think that when somebody would hear that, it's like, wow, well, how am I going to get my money? How am I going to get my money? Everything's going to, disappear. And then there's that ring. The ring probably worth, in the 10, I'm going to guess over $10,000, let's say. Well, you're not going to, if you put her somewhere, like after you put her in the Hummer and drove her somewhere, you aren't going to leave the ring with the body, right? I mean, I don't mean to talk so crudely, but you're going to keep the ring being him because he can sell it and make money off of it. Yeah. So all of a sudden, oh yeah, she gave me the ring back. See, look. Right. The reality is you were holding her hand and you pulled the ring off of her finger. Right. Yeah. All right, let me get this music on. Maybe you guys want to call in, but I need to do a mukbang session because I wasn't able to eat. I have this little pizza, so I was just gonna and smash it down. But yes, if you guys would like to help support the channel, you got the super chats. Thanks everybody for sending in the super chats during it. You got the channel memberships, and so far this year, I think I'm going to donate some. I don't know what day is this. Today's the 10th. I thought maybe if you guys want to help out, I'm going to send in $500 to RAIN tonight, which is violence against women. Okay, so if you guys want to help out, that'd be great. But I'm going to send 500 in a little bit. But a first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to eat a piece of pizza because I was getting dizzy. I don't know, Deanna. We're just going over this one right now. You ever notice that? All right, hold on. That's so quiet. Does the man know about the ring? I don't know. Who cares, Cat, about something like that? He took the ring. Hey, thanks, Plato. Hold on, let me get to the... So last year this channel donated $45,000. The year before was $22,000, and we're already at $500 already this month to Nickmec, and then we'll add another $1,000 to Rain. And not $1,000, but $500 to Rain. That'll make $1,000. And we'll do it in honor of Dee Ann Warner. How about that? There we go, there we go. I'm gonna pay for it, so hold on. Gonna have to move screens. If I have to sign in, I don't know. And that should work. All right. And there is the, on the screen there, it says 500 to me. It just has my name because it's my PayPal, but everybody knows my address already, so it doesn't really matter. But there you go, everybody. That's why I don't like doing stuff on the screen a lot of times, but well, a YouTuber actually put my address out there because he's psycho. All right, so here we go. This is the email right there, and there is it just coming in, and there it is. Rain 500 right down there. All right, so if you guys want to help out too on that, that'd be awesome. We've already done $1,000 this month so far. Let me get back to that screen and switch that out. I wasn't able to do it in honor of her name. They didn't give me a spot when I just did it, so. But we are doing it in honor of her. Dee Ann Warner. There it is. So now we are at 1,000. Yes. I guess nobody's into helping out. All right, let me get to the... it is what it is. We'll just do it anyways. It doesn't matter. Rain 500. Actually, I can't say nobody. We had Paulette and Cheyenne R. There you go. Should be good now. There we go. Got our first 1,000 of the year. 10 days in. Not bad. Yeah. We're not really doing Chris Watts. We actually have a no Chris Watts thing right here. Yeah, I'll hopefully get Greg on again. He said he was a really busy day and he was going through a lot of stuff. So, thank Charisma and Olive Sheep. And Billy Juliana. Thanks. First leg of helping out. Let me turn on the Streamlabs deal for the next ones. Yeah, man, this is It's really strange that it's been going on for 8 months and the family's just been going through all this on their own, basically. Wow, he's got 1,000. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, but there was something, I guess, to do with the conservatorship he was talking about. Thank you, Sacred Turtle Tony. That's right, I turned the audio off on the sound on the super chats. Although they're not even going, nothing's playing. Thank you, Judy. Every time I say that, I want to say Judd. Grady Juddy. Yeah, I need to go eat my pizza. Yeah. Yeah, I've got a picture of him on here. Thank you, Brenda R.
For Dee Ann Warner, folded hands, yellow heart.
Yeah, there it is. Right there. Oh, you can't see. Hold on. There you go. Looks like Cheryl Coker's husband. What do you mean it sounds like nobody knows anything, Deborah? What does that mean? It sounds like you just kind of showed up and don't know what the hell you're talking about. Let's see. Thank you, Kathy Friday Maker. Crypto Will. Okay, I gotta get my piece of pizza. Zozo's Mukbang. Yeah, you can just look one up, Zozo. You'll find one. I mean, there's Facebook pages, and I've got a whole bunch of pages here. I don't know which one. Maybe Catherine can send me a link to a like a flyer or something. Oh, she's on Namus now? Let's see. Yep, there she is. But they don't even have a... Okay, there's a picture there. Okay. All right, here you go, Zozo. Pick that link right there. Yeah, that's the Facebook group. You wanted a poster, right? Thank you, Mag. The legendary Mag. No, it's Canadian bacon, pineapple, sausage, and olives. And we rarely eat pizza, so... Hey, there you go, look at it. Alright, hold on. Now, it's good about as mukbang as you can get. Alright, done with that. Yeah, don't we already know about the circumstances? We've been going over it for days. It doesn't have anything. Is that was that a joke? It just says Dee Ann Warner, 52, was last seen April 24th at her home on Mugner Road in Franklin Township. Good job, law enforcement. Way to really fill them in and give them as much detail as possible. What a joke. Hold on a second. Yeah, it's about the same. Wow, really? I don't see any links on that one that you sent, Catherine. That link that you gave me doesn't have links in it. It just has a picture. Yeah, and there's a petition that Beholder has in the chat there. I thought that was pretty good manners to eat my pizza without one. Wow, really? How did you talk for 45 minutes and get That's a tough thing to do. 45 minutes of nothingness. Alright, so here's another link you can share. I don't know, you have to hit the arrow to the right or something. That's another one. It's kind of too complicated just for a basic... What you want is a poster that, you know, I would even put in the poster, after a fight at the family home, she's disappeared off the face of the earth. She has no motivation for leaving her children and family and friends behind. That's what I would also put in the flyer. That's what I was going to ask. I was going to ask Greg about the trips to Mexico. What does he make of that? But I forgot. We have something in the works. Whatever the hell that means. I don't know. You know, I don't think the other two guys have anything to do with it. I think that the other two people, they might have something, you know, like knowledge of what happened later. But I think what happened to Dee is purely on Dale at this point. I think the other people are what started an argument that turned into a bigger deal, and finally he just said, you know, she just was like, I'm done with this. Hey, Amy, you know, Amy's talking. Do you want me to get the kid? Oh, would you please? This is it's not going to go well. She doesn't need to hear this. And then it just escalated after that, and things were probably said, and he just snapped. I think a little bit like Brian Laundrie, you know. Same sort of deal there, you know, just a bad relationship that culminated one night. They probably, I bet you, they weren't sleeping in the same bed for a while. That's my opinion, based on how, just listening to, you know, if they did, it was like way far away, you know, like a king-size bed. One's on the far side and the other one. What's going on, Chloe? Hey, Raquel, how's it going up there? I just saw you pop in. Yeah, I think that's probably likely, Dustin. Yeah. Well, you need the proof, Zozo. That's the problem. You know, it is obvious, just like it's obvious in the Cheryl Coker case. It's even more obvious in the Cheryl Coker case. But he's still sitting around doing his own thing. Yeah, that's Cheryl Coker's husband. Kind of has a little bit of a doesn't that even have a familiar feel to it all around? That's pretty weird. There he is. Oh yeah. Oh boy. Oh, you can't see it. Okay, here we go. There we go. Look at that. That's Cheryl Coker's husband. That's Cheryl Coker, and then right there. And there he is, wearing all black later in the evening, leaving I think it was a Target. Yeah, pretty weird, isn't it? Well, does anybody want to call in about this? I'm gonna turn on the get the phone lines working. I think. Let me see. That number isn't going to work. There you go. That should be good. The number there. Wow, I got like 100 subs. How'd that happen? Yeah, so if anybody wants to call in and say their thoughts or any kind of questions, and then maybe, you know, if Dustin or Raquel are still in the chat, they can answer some of those. But that's it. I don't have anything else planned. I did want to say that there was another YouTuber that passed away today named well, he went by Hoosier the Bruiser, and he and I didn't really get along at all, literally at all, except we did kind of make amends lately. We emailed back and forth, and we got, just worked through it, and, weren't going to bug each other anymore. But he passed away in his sleep last night, and he's the one that wore the skeleton mask and all that. And, it just sucks. I mean, it's just ridiculous that we've had Michael Catt and then Hoosier the Bruiser dying in like less than a month from each other, and they're both people that were covering the Delphi case. That's pretty strange, but I hope he rests in peace, and I feel bad for him, his wife and kids, and just maybe we'll have to get him a brick for the ballpark. Yeah, it is strange. Here's the truth, everybody. See, I do type stuff in on people's channels. No, he just was in the middle of the night sleeping. I didn't say COVID, did I? Yeah, so there's people that are, sometimes I'll make comments because I just get so frustrated and angry at the shitty quality of the work that a lot of people do, I mean, it's just terrible stuff. Like, they don't really care at all about the reality of it. Even though if it looks nice and spruced up, it's garbage, right? So I might make a comment, but there's also a couple individuals out there that watch what you say, and then they create accounts, and they create this whole other problem behind the scenes that most people aren't even aware about. I mean, they're actually like stoking these fires. So there's sometimes people go, "Gray, I saw you over there. You were saying this thing. I wasn't even over there. Never even showed up." But it's easy to believe when people have a specific narrative about you. Yeah, what about a PI? Oh, yeah. Well, what's interesting is when Dale goes to Mexico, why aren't there people, with the warrants just going over there, and looking? It seems like he's almost aware of something. Oh, man. He's getting paranoid, so he's like going to Mexico more often than he would have. Trying to build a base over there, maybe. I don't know, Courtney Rob, you got to sign in. I can see you, though. Well, anyways, nobody's calling in, so I'm going to turn that off, and well, I might just make this a shorter night. Last night was really long, and it was just, 2 days in a row of 4-hour shows. But we did donate $500 tonight, so thank you, freaks. I don't know what he's doing. You know, but first of all, I wonder where that ring is now. Did he sell the ring and start up a little account down there in Mexico? Because that's almost like having cash. I don't know. Maybe... Yeah, of course he's not going there. Because he loves it so much. He's going there because he's trying to escape. I think everybody... It's pretty obvious. That's what we were just saying. Who's Sean? I don't know who Sean is. But yeah, sounds like he... You know, to me, the fact that he's going there multiple times seems like he's trying to get something set up. I'm not sure what the word maybe means. To what? Nobody has a clue what that's referring to. Oh. Yeah, I mean, somebody should follow him and see what the hell he's doing. So you actually have people that are pro Dale, like they're in there just sort of like Team Dale I saw earlier. What in the hell could you possibly have to say in his defense? It's just so obvious. Okay? So I know that if you're family you want to protect somebody, but sometimes you just got to realize that you're defending a monster, okay? So quit doing it. It's ridiculous. Oh, that was one in the background? Oh, that's right. I can't remember. Who was the caller that had Sean in the background? Was that Catherine? Because I know Raquel and Dustin were on there. I don't remember who the caller was that had the Sean in the background. I remember him though. Oh, Stephanie. Okay. Oh, you, that's right, okay. Alright. Man, you guys are confusing me. You're like sleuthy. All the different names and... I guess we need to hear from Amber now, right? That's right. She's a best friend. Yeah. Or they were good friends. They'd known each other for 5 years and they were like best friends. I mean, she might have had many best friends, you know. Well, because once, I don't know. Probably because he's the landowner and she's not around and can't give consent, and he can. Where did somebody say that she took thousands of dollars? Where's that? That wasn't. I haven't heard that mentioned on any of the phone calls or by Greg. Well, tell the conservator to give consent. I mean, you got one. So when Dale is out of town in Mexico, have the conservator give consent. Does that make sense? I don't believe... I'd be shocked if she's on that property somewhere. He doesn't seem to be too... like... interested in the property. I don't know. Dale is what I'm referring to. Said he said that? When did he say that? Well, you should have said that on the call the other day. Ah, there it is. Because Dale said my mom took thousands of dollars. Well, if there's thousands of dollars missing from like a safe or something, then he took the money, just like the ring. And he's saying that she took it. Ah, see? I said that. I knew it was safe. See? There you go. Dale claimed he took 50. You know what? Because Dale took 50,000 out. Then he said, maybe I need 100. And then he was like, I don't even know if she had that kind of money sitting around in the safe, but I bet you anything that if there is cash in a safe, that he's the one that took that, just like the ring. And he's trying to make it, see, look. Right. How many trips did he take to Mexico? A $50,000 trip, a $100,000 trip, and a $250,000 trip? I guess in reality would be a $50,000 trip, another $50,000 trip, and then a trip for $150,000. You could live years on $250,000 in the right place in Mexico. Although if the wrong people find out that you have $250,000, you won't be able to live a long time at all. It is kind of interesting if he did change his story those 3 different times and he's gone to Mexico 3 times. Is anybody still there? Yeah, I turned off the phone, Billy Juliana. Nobody called in, so I got shut down Zoom. Wasn't working? Hey, how about this? I'll give you this other number to call in. All right, there it is. Right there. Now it's not letting me type that in. Weird. I don't know. I can't do anything here. Oh, there you go. Try that one right there. You got it? Billy Juliana? You got it? That's a Skype, like a throwaway Skype number. Yep, got rid of it. Man, it's boring doing shows when you don't have anything to present. I wasn't sure how long this was going to go, but I don't like staring at the chat and, you know, reading a lot of nonsense sometimes. It's just like, you know. Hey, Mama She 13. Four-minute lag. Wow, that's a long time. Why, Beholder? Yeah. Did she say she had some inside information? Hey, Denise Smith. Not Denny, not Dennis, but Denise. Yeah, but I'd want somebody to call in about the case, right? I mean, doesn't that make sense? If she just got here, she didn't hear anything about the phone call or anything. But I put the number up there, but obviously nobody saw it in time. Maybe I'll try another Zoom. There's no number available right now. There hasn't been for 20 minutes. Let's try it again. There we go.
Recording in progress.
Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. And all right, there you go. So that should work. Yeah, Mary Lou's quiet. You got that right. I'm going to give it 2 minutes, and then after that I'm going to get out of here. Gee. No thanks, JD. Nobody knows even what you were talking about. Map what? That late? Nah, we've gone over it 100 times, Denise. Just go back and listen to the start of the show. I think that would work. Oh, got a call. Oh my god. Oh, I don't know which one is which. Hello, 615. Hello, 615.
Hey, Great. This is Billy Juliana. How are you doing?
Hey, how's it going?
It's going okay, and I apologize about all the delay with getting the call through.
Oh, I don't know what. Yeah, well, I put the phone number.
That was
to
on my
Skype.
end.
I put the phone number for Skype in the chat, and then let it sit there for about 20 seconds. Then I deleted it. So, but that was a different number. That's just a regular number. You didn't have. It wasn't a Skype number. I mean, a Zoom number.
Right. And I really appreciate your doing that. Right when you did that, something went off on my screen. It was my error, and so it was just a missed connection. So I really apologize about that, and for holding up your show.
Well, it doesn't hold up the show.
In part.
I'm just staring. Well, it doesn't hold up my show. I'm just staring at the screen because I did the show, and then I thought maybe people would call in about it or something, and I don't know. I didn't have anything else planned. So.
Well, exactly. Well, this was Gregg's call was of moment enough, not to really have much else planned because,
right, yeah.
His talk was significant for the rest of us to kind of process and look at this case from even greater perspective than what we had before with the other great callers. So there's a lot going on here, and as we all realize, and the reason why I'm calling in is really I don't have any kind of grand ideas or anything like that, but I just first of all wanted to thank all of the family and friend participants from Dee's family and in her friend circle for coming onto your show and for spending all this time providing us with the information that we may need to go forward and perhaps help out. And that's where I'm, feeling a little frustrated. I really want to be able to help out. I wish I had the power somehow to gently and respectfully kind of put pressure on the law enforcement or the authorities who are in charge, or maybe help shift it to a higher level or a different level, because there's so much here that points to a woman who's in danger, and I feel like that should be something important enough for them to kind of get some giddy up in law enforcement's stride. So
yeah,
that's one thing, that is kind of weighing on my conscience right now with regard to this case. Another thing is just looking at the map and looking at the property. I know we don't have a street view, but it appears to me that she never left the property. That's kind of obvious. This is a sort of centrally located.
Yeah. Well, she didn't leave it on
kind of centrally.
Well, she didn't leave it on her own, but she definitely could have taken the Hummer and driven her away somewhere. Yeah.
To the west.
Mm-hmm.
Because the cameras kind of face east, and he was strategically moving, Dale. He was strategically moving outside of the camera's views at all time past that point in the evening when something might have happened. And so I am concerned about finding Dee, and that I apologize for bringing up something macabre along these lines, but I do wonder where she is, and I know her family wonders that as well. And I think that would be key to, kind of lighting a fire under the investigation, obviously, or even just evidence of her person or of her personal effects. And I don't mean a curling iron that was planted somewhere, but something that some trace of her. And right now we can only guess. I'm sure the family has for 9 months, thought about where she could be. And the recent trips to Mexico are troubling as well. I don't know how he was getting there, whether he was driving down there with Lena and what his aim is and going down there. The chat
there's a lot of ponds over to the, like if you go to the west from there, there's a whole bunch of lakes and ponds. Well, I mean, it's just tons and tons of stuff. So who knows if it's over
see
there.
That.
Yeah, I mean,
I see
here.
that, and that is a little concerning. That there's a lot of possibility for lack of a better word, for placement. But that's the kind of thing that I know that the family and that we as concerned onlookers would like to see authorities put a little bit of energy into, and that is checking these areas out to see if they can find her. Because if we consider the fact that, she didn't have a vehicle, and the likelihood of someone picking her up is so slim, given that there was no security footage showing such, that that's kind of like just sort of off the table. So I wish that they would kind of do a little bit more of a. I remember the sheriff had made a direct quotation that it was not a rescue effort. It was just a search for a missing person effort. And they made a supposition that she had gone off, and that was basically the end of their search. And I am thinking that 9 months later, when she has children with whom she is close, and especially a 9-year-old, and there's no contact, we need to be looking in a different direction. We need to be doing more. And I know all of us knows this. It's kind of, or each of us knows this. It's kind of a given. It's just the fact that law enforcement is just sitting on this, and it does make me want to know how I can, or we as a group can help shift their focus or shift them again.
Well, I think that petition is probably one of the better ways. I mean, unless you want to do the bullhorn Betty idiots that go out there with the bullhorns and start yelling.
Exactly. No, that would not be the way. Yeah. That would not be the way. My thought is always to treat the authorities with respect and not have them get into a defensive position where they're pushing back and digging their heels in deeper because there's bullhorns being blared at them. The petition is a really great idea because it does help to elevate the story to a level where people are grabbing onto the information, and as you said earlier, it was you who mentioned this, getting the level of press up to a point where the authorities are feeling some pressure, and they almost have to start making some moves. So I think that's kind of where we are right now. The circumstantial evidence that we have here is so evident as to what happened, but our care for the family is so great that we want to, get justice for them, and we want to have Lena in a safe spot, and we also want Dale to be, not to be allowed to run around the globe stashing money here and there.
Gallivanting around, as my mom would say.
Gallivanting. Yeah, I actually say that a lot too. I'm on the phone here, and I'm kind of like searching for words a little bit, but gallivanting is perfect. And that's exactly what he's doing. And he seems also to me to have this attitude of, they can't touch me. He's gotten to be a little bit brazen in his actions, it seems to me.
I wonder if he left the tracking device on the Hummer. I don't even know if he I don't know. I don't even know if he really did track her. It seems like he was just trying to come up with some idea. Well, that's why she would have. I don't know. That seems like such a weird thing to invent. There would be 1,000 other better reasons why she wanted to take off, without being She could have used a different car, or I don't know. It just seems like a weird thing to come up with, and maybe it is true, because why would you even say something like that? I don't know. It made him look horrible. It makes him look horrible. Worse. These guys are trying to make themselves look better, and he looks like a freaking wacko. Like, oh yeah, well, I was tracking her Hummer, every move that she made, and that's why she left them all here so she could, and took off with another person so that wouldn't be tracked. That's weird.
I know. There's a lot of kind of cloak and dagger kind of, for lack of a better way to put it, cloak and dagger kind of language coming from him. That oh, she had a burner phone, and oh, I put a tracking device on her car because I needed to. She was shifty and shady, and I needed to follow her. This kind of language, is definitely shifting all of the curious behavior onto her, and taking it off of him. But what's so sad about, or obvious about it, is that in this kind of situation, it's so obvious that that's exactly what he's doing, and that all the shady behavior is on his end of the.
Raquel said that she's the one that Dee removed the tracking device, so there was one.
So Dee was savvy enough to know that Dale obviously was a big problem, and she was getting, she was definitely preparing to, rid herself of this situation that she was in and go off in a different direction, and Dale wasn't going to have that.
Well, it's weird because apparently Stephanie, I guess, said that her Fierce Spartan said that he denied that he put the device there. So, but the thing is, then he admits to putting it there to Gregg for his story. So then the truth came out. Mm-hmm. Right.
I see. Yeah. And I see now that Dustin is saying that Dee actually didn't know what the tracking device was, and that she found something odd on her car, and probably was like, I don't know about this, and so she took it to
where did he put it in the ashtray or something? I mean, it's like.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, unless she's like, underneath the vehicle looking at stuff. I don't know. But.
I know. I have this feeling that Dale is the type of person that wouldn't even bother, like, getting underneath the vehicle. He may have a trucking company and all of that, but in this kind of situation, he might just throw something like that.
Hold on a second. Hey, Dustin, send me, email it to me. We got it. I have your email, so just send me a picture to my email, and I'll show it on the screen.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see.
Yeah, I want to see what it looks like.
Yeah.
I'm going to go, wow, my wife put 10 of those on my car. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we all want to know what one looks like. So just in case, we face something in the future where we see something like this in our cars. Yeah. But it would also be interesting just to have some pictures of the property too. Not that I feel like we're at a terrible disadvantage with the satellite view at all, but just some pictures down on the ground level of the property, just to see, kind of like where some of the camera angles were, where the semis were that were moved, especially the one that was moved.
Yeah, well, maybe like Dustin and those guys can go over there. Maybe they can go over there while he's in Mexico and take photographs of where the cameras are and the door.
Yes.
And where the, all the little spots.
If he feels comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to, I'll just say it. I'll let them decide if they're comfortable. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. That's up to them, and no pressure to do that or anything. But if they do feel comfortable providing a little bit more of the on the ground viewpoint of what things look like around the property, that would be helpful, because as we know from watching your channel, that having things in sight and being able to kind of block the scene with where people might have been and where vehicles that might have been involved were also located on the property could help shed some light on our thought process about where she may have gone or ended up, and what direction she could have been going. But we all know that it was basically west if she's not anywhere on the property, which it doesn't really seem like, as you said earlier, it doesn't really seem feasible that she is still on the property, given that, they had crops out there. Nothing seemed disturbed and all of that. So it does seem like there was a vehicle involved in wherever she is, but it wasn't a vehicle that she had requested. It was something having to do with Dale. But again, I know I'm not speaking with any great insight here, but just showing my concern for the family and really,
Well, I appreciate you calling in.
Well, thank you. I'm glad I finally got through, and I appreciate the freaks kind of putting up with my rambling, and we'll let you get on to the next.
Well, don't forget to check out Juliana's channel.
The petition.
No, your channel. Your channel. I thought it was fun to watch. Yeah, but also the petition. We've already mentioned that a few times, but it's in the community section, right? Yeah. God, well, how do you say it all again? Juliana.
You're so sweet.
Oh, God. I had it in my head a second.
You're so kind.
Yeah. Well, thanks.
I appreciate that. Yeah. And just one last thing. I'm just noticing this. Catherine is saying that if she went west, she would have had to go by her grandparents' house. That was something I did think of, because the grandparents are not far down the road.
Yeah, but they would have to be sitting outside. I know. That's a little too much. I mean, it's like, they mentioned that the other day, too, that they drove by there. Maybe they would have seen him. Maybe they wouldn't have. Who knows?
You're right.
Who knows if somebody would see somebody at any given moment? You could have gone inside and went to the bathroom. You might have been sleeping. It just doesn't mean anything.
It was probably late at night or early in the morning, too.
2 in the morning. Nobody's sitting outside on their porch. It's like
that would be easy to miss. Yes. So, okay. Well, I will leave you be, and thank you for your show as always.
Well, thank you for calling in. All right.
You're welcome.
All right.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Yeah. Hold on a second. Hold on. Yeah. I always want to say, whenever I say her name, it's like I always say Billy Juliana, but I always think of Rudy Giuliani. All right, anyways, here we go. Not that she doesn't make me think of him, just the name. All right. 567.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Do we have anybody that's not a member in the chat?
Hey, thanks, Foggy Morn.
Listen. Oh, Foggy Morn, you're amazing.
Yeah, wow.
Generous.
Made the night.
Awesome.
Wait, that's a quadruple cat eye, man. My eye didn't see the one in the front. Thank you.
Gosh, I wish I could hug Foggy Morn. That's awesome.
I'm going to call Billy Juliana the mayor. There we go. There you go. All right.
Billy Juliana is always so nice, too. Is that how you say?
Billy Juliana, but I always think it's
okay.
like Rudy Giuliani. So she said, just call me the mayor. There you go.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Well, always so nice and friendly. I think that we need to work on the on-hold music.
Yeah, they don't let you choose. I shouldn't even have hold, though.
It's crap.
I can just have it where you don't get accepted in until I'm ready. Then you can hear the call and everything. But
yeah.
But the one problem with it, though, is like it makes it hard to know who called in first or second, or when they're all just sitting on the screen and you're just trying to. Anyways.
Oh, snap. Do you have other people waiting? Because I'll make this quick.
No, well, I don't have anybody waiting, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. So I just wanted to say that Gray is like the best true crime guy. I call him King Gray for that reason. And if you haven't noticed some things, well, I'd like to point them out. Number one, all the hours that he spends presenting cases to us, various cases, tons of. And have you noticed his mods in the chat? They're the smartest, hottest mods on YouTube.
The hottest mods?
You have that. They're the smartest. I say smart first. They're the smartest, most intelligent, hottest mods on the internet. Have you seen Beholder, Zozo? Have you seen them? Have you seen these people?
We have to do. I'm going to make a calendar, a mod calendar. There you go.
Well, Zozo's not going to be okay with that. I don't know. Beholder might be a little. I don't know. Gen H. I don't know. You can try.
This is Steph May. This is Steph May, by the way, everybody.
You know that. Yeah. I just wanted to say that if you're not in Gray's chat, if you're not watching Gray's channel, if you're not participating, then you're not in the right spot. This is where it's at, people.
Well, that's what I would like to think.
Tell all the friends this is where it's at.
That's what I'd like to think.
But seriously, not only Gray's brain and his way of presenting cases and things like that.
Well, you remember, my brain is so huge that it's hard for me to go to one place to another. So sometimes it takes me a while to think of something, you know, where if you have a smaller brain. See, I'm not equating with intelligence, though. See, in my case, my brain's a little bit more like a Neanderthal where, you know, you're sort of like you have something that should just pop right into your mind, but it takes an hour to go find it. Where the people that have brains that are more dense, they're like computers, like you. You're smart.
I don't know about that.
You're quicker. I'm slow.
I don't know about
Sometimes I'm fast. You know, it's weird. It just goes day to day, though, for me. Some days I'm fast, and some days I'm not. But I don't know what makes one day different than the other one. Maybe it's sleep. Hopefully we'll get that fixed.
In Discord, Beholder is so quick-witted. She has to be above, like, you know how there's like the level of intelligence, and then you've got above par, and then you've got like super genius. Like Beholder is something way up there. She's way up on top because she's so quick-witted, and Zozo is too.
But you know what? You can't tell somebody's intelligence by how good they are with like memes and shit. Okay. That doesn't mean anything.
Yes, you can.
No, that means you have a whole folder full of them.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. But if more people were members, they would have access to see all of
Hey, good night, Mag.
All of the smartness. Good night, Mag. But no, I just wanted to say hey because I appreciate what you're doing, what all of us are doing.
Yeah, I mean, without the generosity of the freaks, we wouldn't be doing what we're able to do every month. So I'm going to send another 1,000 in later in the month to the identifinders, and we'll have that Addison County completely funded all the way through. But it's already been approved, and it's already in the process. So, boom, right?
Amazing. Can I tell anybody kind of a little bit of our plan? Or you want to hold off on that? What you want?
Oh, you mean doing the a nonprofit?
The stuff that we got. Yeah, we've been talking about doing.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And Linda Howe's pretty amazing too. Well, I want people to be as excited as we are, but with a genuine heart, you know, like with a genuine love for you know, helping people find their identities and stuff like that. But I called Cray. Listen, Cray. I called Gray not long ago. I know there was a conversation in Discord a little bit about it too. But it just felt so good to be a part of something so big. I mean, I said that last year, and I think the year before that it was a great feeling to be a part of something bigger than I myself could be. And the day that, you know, the Bibb County John Doe, Danny Armentrout, you know, got his identity and his family, it really truly felt so good to know that, you know, myself alone could not do that, but to be a part of it was just pretty great. And then since then, you know, there's so much stuff that Gray doesn't tell people that he does for members, you know, and I mean, he's got such a heart. And a lot of times, you know, people might think, oh, he's so mean. He's not. He's got a huge heart. But so I decided to talk to Gray about, you know, moving some of my assets around to start a not-for-profit to fund, you know, John and Jane Doe's, and to kind of like, you know, as a group as a collective group, decide which cases that we want to do, and just solely fund.
Well, I'm just doing. Well, I'm just doing it. I'm just going to keep
cases, all of it.
I just want to all I really want is a non-profit that we funnel. You know, like I send it to, and then immediately it gets over to Identifinders. I don't want to do. I don't want some separate funding thing, because then it's not really the channel or anything. No. I don't either. But I want I want a non-profit set up, and just like, because right now we're sending a check over to Intermountain Forensics because they're non-profit, and then they're able to donate their money out, I guess, apparently, to like Identifinders. So why not just take over for that, have our own one that we just sort of build up, keep building up, keep adding to it, and then when there's a case, we've already got the money, boom, we're ready to go, that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It feels so good to do it. And then, that the not-for-profit, 100% for doing the DNA, the different DNA cases only. I mean, if anything else, it would be way down the road, but I'm excited about it, and I think that's why I said earlier, like, Ray has the best group of people, like, working his channel, the mods. I mean, they're super hot, if you haven't noticed.
Well, Intermountain Forensics.
If you're in Discord, you can see them.
It was taking like $6,000. I mean, not 6% out of whatever we were donating. So when we sent them like $20,000, well, hell, it was like $1,200 was a fee to somebody, and that's ridiculous. I mean, that's $1,200 that was part of this larger number that was raised here. And I want, when people send in super chats and everything and we donate, I want as much money as possible. And for example, for the DNA projects, I want every nickel going straight to the cases. Now when you send money over to like Rain or NICMEC, well, of course they're going to have there's an administrative costs and things that they're doing, but they're great organizations, so that's different. Right.
Yeah, I'm with you on the same page, and I did call our family attorney and get all the paperwork and stuff. So hopefully, before long, I know it takes, it's not like an overnight. Here, you got the account, but it shouldn't be too long, and we'll be able to start picking cold cases and some of the newer cases and just kind of roll with it. And I'm excited about it.
Even
it was a good feeling.
Colleen even said that, she goes, I'll be on your board. So they'd be like, you, me, and Colleen, and that's it. That's all you need is like 3 people, and then you pick cases, and be sweet.
Right. And then Zozo's got the Facebook, the missing, the Facebook page. Is that's Zozo, right? She runs the
GHI The Missing Network, page. And then Yep. Yeah. I
mean, there's just so much going on, and it truly felt good to be a part of it, and kind of got my wheels going. I saw how Gray really liked it. It really made him feel good. It feels like we're doing something, and again, like, doing something like this is something that nobody else is doing. It's just awesome. It's pretty great. And Gray's got a huge backing of people. I mean, his mods are amazing. Have you seen them? They're great. They're always here. They're showing up. We got a good group of people to give a lot of input. Let us know. I went and looked at campers yesterday.
So apparently, Steph May thinks all the mods are hot. Okay. There you go.
Well, they're before the hotness.
I just picked them because they were smart.
Intelligent.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They're intelligent, and then they're hot.
I mean, did you see Beholder's? Did you see Beholder's that face that she was using all that time? How would anybody have known? It was like a freaking skeleton with the eyeballs. Okay.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Amber Maiden on Halloween gave her hotness away. She was like, here it is, bang, open the door. Here's the hotness.
Yeah, anyway.
It just happens. I mean, if they're mad at me, I'm sorry.
What about Equisearch, Angela? Why are you typing that in? What does that mean? Equisearch?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, definitely, I'll be donating to whatever I want to donate too. I've given EquiSearch $8,000. You know, so in the last 2 years.
Yeah, there's nobody else doing it.
I'm sure I'll be giving him some more. Yeah, but they're not really. I mean, to be honest with you, right now, you know, I had some weirdo from one of the other. I don't even want to go through it, but I'm going to send in. I'll keep sending money to. Basically, my 3 main ones are EquiSearch, NCMEC, and Rain, and then the DNA fund is the biggest one that we're doing. You know, I'm going to keep doing that because it costs a lot of money, and for me, there's those other organizations already have a lot of people donating to them, and some of these cases will never be solved without somebody coming forward with the funds to do it, and so that's what we're doing.
Yeah. Which, I mean, Gray has always had groups of organizations that he donates to. I'm sure that he's still going to do that. I'm just talking about solely having a not-for-profit and moving assets, selling my house, pretty much everything. And, we really want the DNA, the Danny Armin trial case just was amazing. And I feel like that's such a good thing. It's a good thing for us to do as a group. I also would like to do some stuff. I was really touched and really moved by the people that called in and kind of told their personal stories, their domestic violence stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I went back and listened to those several times, and they're so moving, they're so touching, such a bravery for people to call in, and share their stories. I thought it was just, man, this channel is just moving things. Things are happening. But, I thought maybe if once we get the DNA set up, the DNA funding set up, and we kind of have an agenda and a plan, which it was great that Ms. Fitzpatrick was ready to jump on board, with us. So, I'd like to, have a group conversation with the mods, the genius hot mods, about doing some stuff, later down the road after the DNA fund is set up with, like other things, domestic violence situations or sexual assault or whatever, but separate from our DNA stuff.
Yeah.
But I want people to be excited and know that there's, things in the work that we want to do as a group, and we want everybody to join us and to be happy about it and to feel as good as we do. And again, the mods are awesome and intelligent and hot.
Okay, if you say it one more time. Okay, anyways. All right.
Super intelligent.
Okay,
God. They're so smart. They're funny, charismatic.
Geez.
Even when you think Zozo's in a bad mood.
I mean, hell, if I wasn't even here, this channel would be awesome because the mods are so hot and they're so smart that it would just work.
Are you kidding me?
The screen would just keep on going without it. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, we probably could make something, but it wouldn't be the same. That's the thing. We need Gregg Hughes. Gregg Hughes has to be here. The channel has to be here because, we need Gray to move the mountains. King Gray. It's King Gray.
Okay.
He's the one starting all of this.
All right. Well, hey. Hey, it was great having you call in.
Totally. Yeah, I'm home now.
Yeah.
It was the first time I drove by myself. I didn't need anybody to drive me.
Wow.
I got some doctor's appointments. I got one more surgery on my back and one more on my arm. I don't think it's ever going to be over. It's freezing cold in north central Ohio, and it hurts everywhere. There was a fire. There was a house fire, and I got stopped for like 35, 40 minutes, stuck in traffic, so I was late getting home. But, my day in a nutshell.
All right, well, go sit back and relax. Thanks for calling in. It was good. You made everybody happy, especially the mods. All right, see you later.
I mean, I hope, but All right, I'll see you guys later.
Okay, bye.
Recording.
I gotta hang up. Yeah, wow. We're gonna have a calendar, I guess, of the mods, huh? You guys ready for that? Thanks, Steph May and Billy Juliana for calling in, and thank you to I was going to remember the last name, Gregg Hardy. I was about to say Hardy. Very cool, very cool. But wow, thank you very much for the super chats, everybody. Very cool. So, what's next? I guess we're just going to keep sharing. Go out and share that petition with as many people as you can. Maybe if everybody has a Twitter account, put it on Twitter. I'll go put it on Twitter. I have it in the community post. Send that out there. And when any of the family members have anything new, or even the friends that have something new or anything, just let me know, and I'll make time for you. You can come on the show and give us the update. Does that sound good? Oh yeah, the picture's in the email. That's right. Hold on. Let me check it out. I thought I checked my email. Oh, there it is. All right. Oh, well, there's the device. Look at that, man. Shit. Is that a... Yeah, it looks like that was it. No monthly fees, GPS, tracker, tracking device for cars, vehicle, trips, teen driver, safety. There's no monthly fees. Just a one-time... Yeah, I was looking for something just like that, though. But I was going to put it on... I think I was just going to put it on my own car. You know? I don't know if it's magnetic. Does it say magnetic? Well, it doesn't matter. Wherever it is, but that's it. Huh. So she was like, when was this, by the way? When was he tracking? Hey, True Crime Recliner, why did you specifically say Zozo, Gray, and Freaks? You know? Why not just Gray and Freaks? Why did you put her name in there? Just curious. Is she sneaking over there watching your late night show where you're just staring at the screen and... Yeah, he tracked her. No plugs into the spot where a mechanic would... Oh, way down there. That's interesting. Right. That's kind of weird. So that spot where when you go in to get your DMV check, right? That little electrical shit where they... That's weird. I wonder why she didn't think it was just part of the car. I think if I saw that, I'd just think it was already there the whole time. No, it just says, hey, Gray and Freaks, True Crime Recliner. That's it. Let's see. Yeah, he was tracking D. When was that, though? I asked when was that. Did he answer that? No plugs into... July of 2020. So why do you think he was doing that? That's weird. I don't think he was suspicious that she was cheating on him. I wonder if he was just trying to track her to see if she... I don't know, man. Go to a place that's weird. Yeah. Well, anyways, you guys, I don't have any more to do tonight, so I am going... That's absolutely crazy, though. To just track for the sake of tracking, you know? That's wild. Absolutely wild. I don't know. I'm wondering if he thought she was cheating because she didn't like being with him anymore, and so then he is going to try to track. I don't know what he, I have no idea. That's pretty weird, though. You got to admit. Okay, thank you to Foggy Morn, Cat Eye, Eugenie, LM, Judy, or as I like to say, Juddy. That's another Cat Eye. Noreen Gardner, Patty Barnett, Stephanie, One Sly Angel, Cindy Leon, Mag, Lee D, Vicky H, Your Gypsy, Paulette Leonard, Cheyenne R, Charisma, Olive Sheep, Billy Juliana, Sacred Turtle, Judy Jetty, again, Brenda R, Karen Shank Chapman, Kathy Friedenmaker, Crypto Will, Mag, Foggy Morn, Angela Vincent, then Foggy Morn with a cat eye, then Foggy Morn with a quadruple cat eye. Absolutely incredible, thank you. Dreaming Girl, Haley Castorina, Haley Castorina, and that's another cat eye donation. And Lanky Tor. Thank you guys. Thank you. And again, like I said a few minutes ago, even though me and Hoosier the Bruiser didn't like each other, and he put out a lot of false information on me a couple weeks back, but we sort of made up. In email, we got over our differences, and then we just left each other alone. But there were times where we weren't not getting along, and I thought he was cool. But I know, the fact that he just sort of randomly died in the middle of the night is just, it's sad. I mean, so that means, his wife and his kids, they didn't even get to say goodbye or anything. It sucks, nobody deserves something like that. There's only one YouTuber out there that, if something happened to them, I really wouldn't give two shits about. Well, maybe there's two of them, okay? All right, so anyways, rest in peace, Bruiser. Hoosier the Bruiser. I mean, he has a real name, but that's what everybody knew him by. Yeah, he was the guy that wore a skeleton mask for years, and then he finally sort of had the side of his face on there. So anyways, put out some good vibes to him and his family, and that's all I got. All right, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight, and hopefully we can get some justice for Dee Ann Warner at some point. I know the family is working hard. I have no doubt that Greg, Dustin, all those, will all make a huge difference. All of them, their whole family, all their friends together. Okay. I have Raquel, all the friends. I think they just seem so committed. And that's why it's so shocking that it's not a bigger story to have all these people that they've been dealing with this for months and all knowing all this stuff. And it just seems like nobody's doing anything. All it would have taken was one of the bigger news outlets, to make a big story on it. And those kind of things tend to shame police departments, and all of a sudden, wow, there's all this stuff going on. And I think we're helping out a little bit here, and I think we're giving them a place to speak and, get information out there. I just hope that when Dateline calls you up and says, well, we got the exclusive rights and we can't talk to you, can't talk to us anymore. They always do that to everybody. Dateline is a blood-sucking group where they don't really care about justice. They care about getting the story. I don't care who has the story. I just want it to be covered accurately and truthfully. All right? But the Dateline is just, oh my God. If you guys knew, I'll just tell the story again. So, like, when we were doing the Lori and Chad Daybell case, I was talking to the grandparents over and over. They came on 3 or 4 times, told us the stories, a little inside information, and after all that, you kind of knew what was going on. And then all of a sudden, my phone rings, and it's actually one of their phones. And it wasn't one of them, though. It was Dateline. They said, "Hey, this is Dateline producer. They don't want to talk to you anymore." You mean you told them they don't want to talk to you, because now you have the exclusive story. And I hate shit like that. I mean, put a 1 if you think that stuff's completely bogus. I hope everybody puts in a 1. It's just ridiculous. And you guys must be like 30 minutes behind me here. Yeah, see how crazy that is? I know, if you could put 1 million, you could put 1 million. But it's the truth. That's actually what they did. They won't admit stuff like that. You know how they, behind the scenes, they can't admit to that, but that is what happened. I was the one that took the call. And, when Larry was on here, he'd say stuff like, you guys remember those videos are out there. It was great. I mean, it was really, they opened up and the conversations were awesome, and so all right, you guys, thank you all for being here tonight. Let's all pray for justice and put out some good thoughts for Hoosier the Bruiser, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm not gonna do anything at the end, I'm tired. All right, so put out some prayers for justice in Dee Ann Warner's case, and I feel like there's some momentum going, don't you guys? A little bit. It feels like there's something. All right, so we'll see you guys tomorrow, and as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there. And a 2 and a 3 and a. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person...
Hey, Gray, I didn't get to say anything tonight. Gee!
Click reject. Oh, God. Here we go with the G. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Gregg is gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, connector, and I'm always gonna be a protector. Tool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I never tender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody? Talk to you. All right. Well, thank you guys again. And, check out Discord. If you're a channel member, you can go to the community section. Click on one of the posts. Go to the community section also to fill out the... or just check out the petition on the Dee Ann Warner. They're trying to get the state police to take over. And check out GHI The Missing Network. It's the only network that's missing out there, but it's we got that one, and also my Instagram out there. Okay, there you go, everybody. Thank you, and be safe out there.
Everybody be safe, Jay.
Oh, God.